you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Leur 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast on this Tuesday, June 10, broadcasting live from the beautiful Ocean Sky Hotel and Resort at 4060 Galt Ocean Drive in the beautiful Galt Ocean Mile of Fort Lauderdale. I was at Game 3 last night between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. Everyone knows by now it was a blowout. So was this guy, Francois Gagnon of RDS. I'll bring him in just a second. I tried to get DJ Khaled and Wayne Gretzky. Unfortunately, they were unavailable today. But I'm very, very happy with Francois Gagnon because he used to be with me back in the day, and he's back, and I couldn't be more excited. The Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. Also, 3 tasty reasons to visit the Rail. Mondays as of 4 p.m. Dive into 2 lobster tails for just $22, served with rice, veggies, garlic butter, and a warm biscuit. Thursdays from 4 p.m. Sink your teeth into their Surf and Turf special, an 8-ounce New York strip with shrimp fries and pepper sauce for only $19. And Fridays from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Enjoy any burger, sandwich, pizza, or main for just $7. Certain conditions apply. All you need is a valid Playground Players card, and it's free. Details this good are worth the trip to Playground. Who's going to win the Stanley Cup right now? It's a 2-1 series lead for the Florida Panthers. Go all the way with Betway. Get a free bet up to $200. If your first bet loses, scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account. Redeem your welcome offer. Offers only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offers not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older, and please play responsibly. So I brought up DJ Khaled, who was part of the entertainment yesterday. If we can bring him up. There we go. Had a chance to cross paths with him. There you are, man. And 99. It's, look, in our business, and you know this, Francois, you have that accreditation. You're not supposed to take a picture, but when no one's looking, if you have a chance, I don't do it for everyone. I've done it with Wayne. I did it with Wayne Gretzky last night. I'm going to do it with Francois Gagnon later. But, yeah, so it was nice to see them. And it was nice to see you, Francois. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Fun to be with you. And if you had the choice between Gretzky and I, and you would have chose me before, I would have banged you on the head. So good for you to have that picture taken with the great one. It's fun to see him around. It's fun to see that he still enjoys hockey. I think he's a bit surprised by the result. I thought it would be easier for the Oilers, but hey, he's an American now, but he's still an Oiler in his heart, so it's understandable.
Oh, the comments I got yesterday about putting up a picture with Wayne Gretzky, and it wasn't unanimous, I have to tell you. And folks, listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's the beauty of social media. I took a picture last night with Wayne Gretzky, the former hockey player, one of the best players of all time. And if some cannot distinguish the difference, that's okay, right?
Probably 99.9% of the comments you received were coming from people who never saw him play. So they cannot understand the value of the 99 for a guy like you, for a guy like me, for the older person that saw him coming to the NHL when he was a kid and getting where you are, you know, and rewriting the record book with some records that we never thought possible that would beat him. Ovechkin got one this year, but there's a few more that will never be touched.
And the topic of conversation, by the way, is going to be Lane Huston winning the Calder Trophy as Rookie of the Year, the first time a Montreal Canadien has won it since 1972 when the great Ken Dryden won it, of course. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but before we do, you know what Wayne Gretzky and Francois Gagnon have in common? They're both Hall of Famers.
Wow, yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you officially. I sent my congratulations on social media, but now I have a chance to do it in person. And it's I can't wait for the day to come for you. I can imagine how emotional it's going to be. It was very emotional when you found out, but this is the Stanley Cup for members of the media.
It is still mind-boggling for me. I mean, I've been doing this job for more than 30 years now, and I always loved every minute of it, and I always did it, in the way that I try to be accurate. And when you do mistakes, because we all do some once in a while, you make sure you correct it. And I try to guide fans where I think the pat is going. Like when everybody's going one way, I always have, a setback and say, okay, why everybody is on that side? There might be something different. So I try sometimes to go from the left field and go a little bit different. But, that for me is the most important thing. When the vibe, when the current is on only one side, maybe that some of us are, missing a few clues. Just like Lane Huston when he came in, too small, will not be able to do it. And look what happened today for him. So in my career, that was exactly that. I would never, ever, ever in my wildest dream of an honor like that, doing this job, working with my buddies, my friend that we gathered around at the Stanley Cup final, at the GM meeting, the governor's meeting, the big events, bounding with those guys is for me a huge privilege and a huge honor. So what will happen November 10 will be larger than life.
Yeah.
2 great moments that day, the Hall of Fame, and I could be granddad for the first time.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be interesting.
The only thing that could top that is actually giving birth right there at the Hockey Hall of Fame. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would have been a final word is when we do this job, what's most important to us is not only the way we do it, but it means so much when we know that our work is appreciated. I don't know about you, but like even me, I know my work is not unanimous. And when you have those bad comments, and you're going to have them, it's sometimes it takes a while to get over them. You take them personally, and you want to try and please everyone. And unfortunately you can't. But I remember when Jimmy Johnson, who was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, of course, and won a couple of Super Bowls. And when he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he got emotional. He said, it's so nice to know that your work is appreciated. And you must be going through that. So it's pretty cool.
Exactly. And you know what? It takes a big event like that to realize that it's easy to criticize, but the people that are behind you, they have so much more things to do that they don't have the time to come and counterpart the criticism. So when something big like that happened and you realize that, wow, there's a wave of support, you say, okay, there's not only the people that, bang on the nail every day, and they have the right to do it, but on the other hand, it's good to have a pat in the back because we need some. We are human too, and we put a lot of time, a lot of work, and of course, we get rewarded, we get paid for that. We are, it's our job. But to get public recognition, and especially the recognition of my fellow reporters that I work with for more than 30 years, to get that kind of recognition is something bigger than life.
I gave Francois Gagnon a call last week and congratulated him and said, Francois, it's been way too long since you're on the podcast. And how about you come back? And he said, July and August not going to happen because the missus wants me to take time off. I said, I understand that. Anyway, he's back today. And hopefully we'll talk again in sometime this month, later on this month. And if all goes well, I'd love for Francois to be part of the team going forward for next hockey season. Anyway, he and I will discuss that. We'll get to the last night's game in just a second. But once again, what a beautiful iguana, eh?
Oh, wow. As long as it stays that far, it's okay.
Nice colors, though, eh? Pretty
nice
amazing.
Colors, but colors, I'm colorblind. So from there, it's good.
Okay.
Too close would be a different story.
All right, okay. Lane Huston wins the Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy. We have a picture of him. His dad actually had family and friends over at I think it was a pub in Illinois, and basically said, you know what, we're going to all honor Lane by being a finalist for the Rookie of the Year trophy. And he let his wife know about it. Maybe 1 or 2 other people. Other than that, nobody knew. And I would imagine his agent knew, but they get there. And at one point he says, thank you to everyone. His dad does, very emotional, his dad, Rob, and says, thank you to everyone. And the Calder Trophy comes out, Rookie of the Year, much to Lane's surprise. But Francois, based on the season he had, I don't think we should be surprised, huh?
No, it was for me. It was a race for two guys at the same time. It was Dustin Wolf for a long part because for me, and I voted for that. For me, the toughest job is the goaltending as a rookie. So it's so different. It's so rare that I was looking at Dustin Wolf. He was the sole reason why the Calgary Flames were involved in the playoff race.
Yeah.
Okay. And with 2-3 weeks to go, he was my number one candidate.
Really, eh?
Yeah. Hutson was really close behind, but he was still my number one candidate. And then, not that he vanished, but, at some point he was not able to win all by himself. The team didn't do a good job, and they were kicked out of the playoff. Would the Calgary Flames made the playoff? I would have had a tough time. I would have debated a lot more than I did, but considering the end of the season of the Canadian, not only because they made the playoff, but because Lane Huston was a key factor for that from start to finish of the season, I had no problem putting Lane Huston first, Dustin Wolf second, and for me, that was a race at 2. Celebrini will probably be the best player of all in that draft year. But for this season, for the Calder race, he was number 3.
Yeah.
And I had, after that, Michkov. And for a long part, I had other candidates, and I've ended up with Stankoven because he reacted well to the trade. And for me, he was my number one candidate at the start of the season because I always look who played a couple of games the year before, who gave me the idea that he got acclimated enough to the NHL to be able to perform. And he started well, but he was not able to sustain that. And that's the reason why I didn't go. I did go on him after the trade. And that could be a reason why Demidov will be a favorite starting next season, at the start of the season. And it could give maybe the Montreal Canadien a 2-in-a-row Calder Trophy winner.
Interesting discussion here lies ahead because respect the fact that you gave it to a goalie. Respect the fact that Hutson had not had your vote until 2 or 3 weeks left because most members of the media from Montreal tend to give it to the guy who plays for the team that they cover. I'll tell you why I wouldn't have given it to Wolf. He didn't play 82 games.
Didn't play 82 games, but no goaltender played 82 games.
No, but I don't even think he played 50. I mean, I don't have the stats. I think he was hovering around there, but
the thing is with Wolf, that for me was very important, is that look at the numbers that he had. Look at the numbers that his substitute had. Vladar had statistics that were completely reversed.
For the same team in front of
For
them.
the same team.
Yes.
So the rookie was able, with the same team, to get much better results. He was able to bring them to the door of the playoff. So that's the reason why I was there. In my mind anyway, Hutson benefited of the fact that the Canadiens were a better team. Having the power play that the Canadiens had, having Nick Suzuki, who's an outstanding hockey player, having the kind of firepower that the Canadian had, and the fact that he was able to take the puck out, make sure that the great passes that he would putting on the offensive zone were going to the net. I mean, he benefited of all that. But that being said, look at the numbers. He was a clear-cut number one vote.
Yeah.
And I went for him at the end. And you said something really important. I work in Montreal. I'm labeled as a columnist who covers the Montreal Canadien. When votes like that happen, the thing that I'm most scared of anything is to be called,
a homer.
There he is. He's a homer. He gave that to him because he's a homer. So I will always be more critical to the Montreal Canadien players. And maybe that's not fair to them, but just to make sure that I will not be looked and called a homer.
So at 50-50 or 55-45 or even 60-40, you might go the other way.
Well, not 60-40.
Yeah, I got it.
But 51-49,
yes,
I will go the other way. Like Selke Trophy. Does Nick Suzuki deserve maybe some votes for the 4th or the 5th place? I believe so.
I believe so too.
I didn't put him there yet this season because I was looking at other names, and I told myself those are at least as good as Suzuki.
What I know Reinhardt got a lot of votes. Just now we're going off to another subject, but I'm glad you went here personally, I'm not. Reinhart and Marner didn't steal votes. Okay, I'm not a fan of two players on the same line both getting votes.
I agree.
There's one that's obviously much more important than
And
the other.
that's the reason why, if you look to the ballots, you will not see Francois Gagnon vote to Reinhart. And maybe unfair to the guy, but on the other hand, I look at those two guys and I say, who's the best between Barkov and Reinhart? One could say that Reinhart was as good. Okay, maybe. But for me, Barkov was better. And if I look around the 30 other teams in the NHL, I will find candidates that were so strong to their team that, in my mind anyway, deserves to be there. So that's the reason why Reinhart was not there. And I explained to you why Suzuki was not there. But I was a homer maybe on one side, and that was for the Lady Byng. Because Nick Suzuki, with all the time he spent on the ice, against the number one line on the other side, in every circumstances, having to take the load, offensive load of the Canadians, and having to take the defensive load of the Canadians, having to take the tough face-offs, didn't get any minutes of penalty and was always in the mix, I gave him my first place vote for the Lady Byng.
And with all due respect to Doc and Newhook or Evans, was not insulated with another centerman behind them, as most other centermen in the National Hockey League were and have the luxury of. So,
and I didn't see the results yet.
Yeah,
I would be surprised that he got 2 first place votes. So I gave him mine, so everybody will know, and they'll be able to call me a homer on that one.
Bittt Tibi launched their new Ultra Lager, refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for the summer with only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. Ultra light, ultra refreshing. Once again, this podcast was recorded a little bit earlier in the afternoon, as you can see, right, with the beautiful beach and ocean behind us. We are live from the Ocean Sky Resort and Hotel at 40 Galt Ocean Drive and the Galt Ocean Mile in Fort Lauderdale. And I've been here for the last couple of days, and every time I come to South Florida, I always stay at the Ocean Sky Hotel, which is owned by a couple of Montrealers and the Titan group of hotels. You check them out. They also own Versailles, Meridian, the Mont Gabriel, the famous Mount Stephen Club in Montreal, of course, several others. Check out their website. Okay, so I have a couple of stats for you that are going to be great for you and everyone listening and everyone watching, which will put into the context of the season that Lane Huston had. Some of these stats probably some people are not aware of and probably don't have access to. Some easy ones, yes, obviously, where he finished the points on the team. But why don't we bring up a chart that we put together? All right, okay, Lane Huston this season. Montreal's third leading point getter with 66 points, just behind Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki. So Suzuki first, Caulfield second, Hutson third. Montreal's first in assists with 60 assists, one more than Nick Suzuki's 59. Montreal's +7 with Hutson on the ice, -34 without him.
That's huge.
Montreal's leading point getter in the playoffs with 5 points. So there's 4 stats here where I bring Montreal into play. I'll stop it at here before we talk about the other ones. All these stats, what impresses you the most of these?
The third
Montreal.
One. The +7 with him on the ice, the -34 with him on the bench. And the reason why I say that is that everybody knew that he was gifted offensively. Everybody knew he was small.
Yeah.
Everybody thought, maybe not everybody. A lot of people thought, and you can put my name in that group. We were wondering, is he big enough? Is he strong enough to sustain the load of the NHL, especially at his first year? Will it take him maybe a year in Laval, maybe a few years in the NHL to get accustomed to everything? Because he's not lightning fast as skate. He's not Cale Makar. He's not Quinn Hughes. But he came in, and for me, what impresses me the most was the way he was able to bend with everything.
Yeah.
He's gifted offensively. The passes are always on the tape. They always perfect or close to be perfect. But his defensive play is why I kept him there and why at the end, I explained why I gave him my first vote place.
There's 2 things I didn't put on this chart that blew me away. One, if you would have told me, you said you had your doubts about a few things. I had my doubts that he was going to play 82 games. Like I saw Leo Carlsson the year before play in the 50s, and Leo Carlsson's a bigger guy than Lane Huston. And I said, there's going to be load management on Lane Huston. There's no doubt about it. 5'9", 162 pounds, soaking wet, whatever
soaking
he
wet,
is,
yeah.
right? There's going to be load management.
With you in one pocket, with me in the other one.
Instead, not only was there no load management, down the stretch, he became the defenseman who logged the most ice time.
Yeah.
And in the playoffs, he tied Mike Matheson with 24 minutes and 50 seconds per game for the most ice time in the playoffs as well. That blew me away. Another one, I don't know where it ended, but I remember with a couple of weeks left in the regular season, I saw a stat. Puck battles won by defensemen. 30 teams, probably about 250 defensemen played in the National Hockey League this season because of injuries, 7, 8, 9 per team sometimes. Let's say 250. With 2 weeks left in the regular season, and I wasn't able to find the updated stat, he was 32nd in puck battles won.
Yeah.
That means there's only one defenseman on average per team that wins more puck battles than him. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's unbelievable, but it's true. And on the graph that we showed and we started with, there's another stat that for me is the most important, and it's the one second in 5-on-5 takeaways behind Jacob Slavin, who is
the best defensive defenseman in the league,
one
arguably.
of the best defensemen in the NHL. One could say that it's Gustav Forsling from the Florida Panthers.
Yes.
And there are some other great candidates. But he's second, 5-on-5 takeaways behind Slavin. That for me is unreal because I was scared of the way that he would lose battles around the boards, around the net, that he would get taking advantage of because of his size. And look at the end. 5th in 5-on-5 passes to the slot among D. That's his gifted talent. And 10th overall in total defensive plays, 5-on-5 among D. This is not only surprising.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
I would imagine he's way up there in offensive zone entries. He must be way, way up there. I would imagine he's way up there in puck possession in the offensive zone for D as well. 11th in relative expected goals percentage among D. 15 in points per 60 among D. 9th in assists per 60 among D. 6th tied with Hedman for regular season points for a defenseman with 66. I mean, the accolades are long. He became the Montreal Canadiens leader in the history of this very proud and historic organization for most assists by a rookie defenseman, surpassing Chris Chelios. He ends up tying a league record, which was set by Larry Murphy, I think in 81, if I'm not mistaken, you tell me, with 60 assists. And it's Lane Huston, he blew my mind, Francois. I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to say it because it's the truth. I'm 52 years old, and a lot of my buddies, they wear hockey jerseys when they go to games, right? I'm in the media. I don't wear hockey jerseys, and I don't really collect them either, okay? But at home, I have a jersey of the late Maurice Rocket Richard.
That's good.
Autographed, which is in some like a covered by a paper foil or saran wrap or whatever. But I'm gonna have to put it in a frame, I would imagine. The late Guy Lafleur, and a couple of months ago, I said I love Lane Huston so much I need to go out and get his jersey. That's how much I love him. And Francis Benoit of Memorial Trophy actually was able to get me a jersey and gave me a gift, which I very much appreciate. But he's a fan favorite, eh?
He's
and some, and this is an entirely different debate. This is a good debate. Some believe he's the best player on the team, and Nick Suzuki is something else.
Well, Nick Suzuki is something else, but he's right up there.
But the discussion is there, right?
Yeah, the discussion's
there.
And after a first year. And, you know me for a long time. Start of the season, I was saying, okay, let's calm down a little bit. The Montreal Canadien opponents are not taking care of the team. They don't take it seriously, and they sure don't look at Lane Huston as a threat. So 5 games, 10 games, after 20 games. Now, at some point, he's part of the game plan of the other team, and he was keeping the pace.
Yeah.
And not only was he keeping the pace, but the pace, he brought it up during the course of the season. When then, after a while, starting mid-December, teams were taking the Canadiens more seriously than at the start of the season, and they sure had to notice, be careful about that little Hutson. You look at him and you say, oh, he's not fast, he's not that quick, I'll be able to take care of him, and suddenly, boom, he's by you, and the puck is behind our goaltender, and you thought you would be able to beat him in his corner, and he's the one who got out with the puck. So that, for me, at a first-year player, everything that he did, for me, is bigger than expected.
Yeah, and look, you're onto a great point where a lot of people are they know him now. So some are saying, oh, it's going to be tough next year, and it might be. And usually the second season, they call it the sophomore jinx. It is, and we hope it doesn't happen to him. But I don't think it will, because he always wants to get better.
Yeah.
Number one. So he works harder at his trade than most. He loves the game, obviously. He's on the ice all the time. But what he has, he's got that level of unpredictability. You don't know what he's going to do. Sometimes I don't even know if he knows what he's going to do. So how do you stop a guy when you don't know what he's going to do? And he was asked to talk about his game at one point this season, where Patrick Laine said he's the most talented, I think, defenseman that I've ever played with or whatever. And he said, the way he plays the game, not a lot of people expect what he does. And Lane Huston said, the best way I can explain the way I play the game is I try and draw the most amount of players to me and hope for my teammates getting open, and then I try to find them. So he creates havoc. He creates confusion. He likes to try and create mismatches and situations of being outnumbered to then end up having his teammates be alone and uncovered. And he's really good at it.
He's really good at it, and for him to be even better at it, he will need to work on his shot.
Yeah.
He will never get Evan Bouchard bomb like the defenseman of the Oilers. And that's not what I'm looking for him. But he needs to get a shot that opponents will take seriously. Because if they know he's not going to shoot, they will not go as far on him. He will not be able to attract other players. And that's exactly what coaches are doing with videos. And they will tell their wingers, don't go too far on him. He wants that because he will be able to sneak a pass behind you. So be careful. But if he has a shot, then you cannot give him two steps, because he's going to go forward and have a good shot. And again, it doesn't need to be a bomb. It needs to be a shot that will be tough enough to be difficult to block, that will give a little bit of challenge to the goaltender and could create a rebound or two here and there. He does not have that yet, but he will probably get it next year, in a few years, and then he will be a more complete player, and he will be, at that point, even better than he was this season.
So we're going to end it now on this. Somebody sent me a message earlier today and said, Tony, this is going to be a very tough negotiation. Right? I received a message on Instagram by a fan. Really? What's tough about it? Now, I understand the point. I understand the message. I get it. Maybe Kent Hughes and obviously would love to get Lane Huston for the lowest amount possible so that there's room for others. That's the way championship clubs are built. I get it. But there's another way the championship clubs are built. The best players make the most money, and the best players, the negotiations are easy because the teams don't want to mess around with those guys. I don't know what number it's going to be, but I think it's almost at a point here where you can give him a blank check and ask him to sign it. I mean, I'm exaggerating to make a point, okay? But let's just say, for example, his agent would say, we'd love to have 8 years times $10 million. Is it really a tough negotiation? And maybe he ends up signing for $8 million here. I don't know. But I know that Jacob Chikrin signed for $9 million.
Yeah.
And he's a different defenseman than Lane Huston.
Yeah. But
he's not Lane Huston.
But Lane Huston has as much value to the Canadiens, if not more, than Chikrin with the Washington Capitals. That being said.
So where's this going here, this negotiation?
Well, the best player of the Montreal Canadien for now, in my mind, is still Nick Suzuki. Okay? Nick Suzuki was the highest paid and still is the highest paid player. Cole Caulfield just a tiny little bit less. Same thing for Slafkovsky. Now, those contracts were signed with a cap that was at $88 million.
There was also signed in 2021.
That's
Suzuki's
right.
deal.
So the cap is going to go up to $114 million in 3 years.
Correct.
So the way I think it's going to work is that you and I and the people watching us, we can no longer look at the amount of money. We have to look at the portion that it takes on the salary cap, under the salary cap.
So the percentage that Suzuki signed when the salary cap was that number, and then you take a look at what the percentage that Hutson will sign when the salary cap is going to be that 114.
That's right. So let's say that the Canadiens say Suzuki is having, and I wish I had the exact number, but let's say for the sake of the argument, Suzuki gets 10% of the salary mass of the Canadiens. You say to Lane Huston, you know what? He's still our best player. He's our captain. For me, he's my benchmark contract. So I'm not looking at the money, but I won't go more than 9.5% of my salary mass, which will give Lane Huston a bigger number, but you would always be able to turn around and say Nick Suzuki is still my best player and my benchmark because he's having the biggest percentage, or he had the biggest percentage at the time, and Hutson is having a little bit less, even though he's having more money. So it's going to be interesting. And is he looking right now for a long-term deal? Is he looking like many other big stars, Mitch Marner in Toronto, Austin Matthews in Toronto, looking at contracts for 4 or 5 years? Because after the $114 million hike, maybe the cap will go to 120, and then he would be able to cash in sooner than later.
So without putting words in your mouth, as far as Francois Gagnon is concerned, in maximum 1 year from now, when his deal is up, and then he can sign the extension whenever he wants, in maximum 1 year from now, Lane Huston will be the highest paid Montreal Canadiens player of the current players on the team.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think a big question is, will he be the highest contract ever awarded in the history of the Montreal Canadiens, which was Carey Price's 8 years, $84 million at 10.5 per year.
10.5 per year. It's going to be interesting. Is he going to be able to get there that quick? I don't know. But if his agent want him to make sure that he's going to get that kind of money sooner than later, maybe go for a 3 or 4 year deal. And does Lane Huston need, I don't want to say money right now, but, make sure that he'll be able to take care of his parents and make sure that he will be able to start in life and make sure that everything is okay and secure everything before getting to the other level? That could be a concern too. So some guys with their agent want more money right now and make sure that they're going to get even more in 3, 4, 5 years from now.
It's going to be an 8 year deal. We agree. You're not sure? I think it's an 8.
That I'm not sure.
Really, eh?
Yeah, that I'm not sure.
I think it's an 8. It has to be an 8. If I'm Kent Hughes, I'm not signing if it's not an 8.
If the money is fine for Kent Hughes, of course, yes.
I got it.
But if he believes that, you know what, he wants too much on that 8 year, I'm not ready to go there yet, then you sign a shorter deal with guaranteed money for this moment, and you gamble on the future.
One last question. Game 4. Who's your starting goalie for the Edmonton Oilers?
Oh, I go back with Skinner.
Yeah.
You
have to, I think.
Yeah, I don't believe. Well, he's not the greatest goaltender in the history of the Edmonton Oilers or the league. Everybody knows that. But that guy is so strong mentally. Give interviews, morning skates. He was there after the game saying that, you know what? Some nights it's more difficult. I don't believe I gave a bad goal. They were great shots, but we are in the Stanley Cup Finals. I have to make great saves. I didn't make great saves.
That's good.
And he's saying that.
Yeah.
So my colleagues of Edmonton are, tending him like a buoy and say, well, yeah, with all the penalties in the first period, of course, it's not easy to get your rhythm, but I'm a number 1 goaltender in the NHL. If I'm not able to sustain that kind of situation, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
And by the way, and that's what he said. He said, Bob was facing the same thing, and he did it. Meaning, I have to do it. So I don't know where the Edmonton Oilers will go, and not tomorrow night, but Thursday night. But he brought him here with some help in the first round of the playoff. Much needed help in the first round of the playoff. He got help last year in the Stanley Cup final start, but he was there at the end. And after the first 2 games, one would say, and that one is me, that he was even better than Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky was outstanding the first 2 games. He was really good the rest of the way. But Skinner was the better of the 2 goaltenders in the last 5 games of that playoff series.
Stuart Skinner, Francois Gagnon is going to the Hall of Fame on the 10th of November. If you want to go, you're going to have to start with 3 shutouts in your next 3 games. No pressure. Francois Gagnon, thanks for doing this, man.
Nice to be with
I
you.
appreciate it. From RDS, Francois Gagnon. Check him out, rds.ca. His articles are there, and obviously you can check him out on all social media platforms. Special thanks to all of our sponsors, to Energy Transportation Group, to Playground, to Bittt Tibi, and to, of course, to Betway. And special thanks to the Ocean Sky Hotel and Resort, because we are here. I'm actually facing the hotel, the beach ocean, right behind me at 40 Galt Ocean Drive in the Galt Ocean Mile in Fort Lauderdale. For Francois Gagnon and Sammy Cavallaro back at Master Control, it's a Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro. Ciao for now. Congratulations.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaBita.tb, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.